Well, the Police Association is scathing. They say they've got serious concerns relating to the current consultation process for proposed firearms legislation reform, particularly the review of the firearms registry. The police union's president, Chris Cahill, has called on the Prime Minister to intervene and acknowledge the association as an interested party. He also wants responsibility for firearms reform taken off Act Minister Nicole McKee, saying she's a former gun lobbyist and has excluded police from the consultation. Cahill has asked Christopher Luxon that Police Minister Mark Mitchell be given oversight of the process because, in his words, it is the men and women he is responsible for that will be most affected by the outcome. So, a letter has been penned, things are being said. The Associate Justice Minister, Nicole McKee, joins me now. Nicole.
Good afternoon, Leah. Great to be on board with you again.
Well, look, good to have you too. My gosh, Cahill's come out swinging, claiming there has been, let's jump in first here with Nicole, he's claiming there's been restrictive consultation and the Police Association have been deliberately excluded as a voice in the review of crucial aspects of the firearms reform legislation. What do you say to that?
Well, I have not excluded New Zealand Police at all. What I have missed out is the police union, but New Zealand Police themselves are part of the targeted consultation groups that have been asked to review and look over some of the initial scoping of proposed changes that we want to make. So we haven't actually produced any legislative changes that need to go to select committee yet, but when that does occur, New Zealand Police Association or the union will have the ability to partake in that consultative period then.
Okay, so he's kind of jumped the gun because he's been critical, especially of the firearms registry documentation. He says there's no facts behind it and again says the association is being left out, but you're saying that part hasn't started yet?
No, so what we are doing is an initial consultation on the review of the registry so that the ministry can gather all of their facts to then give us advice on what we should do with the registry pending this initial consultation that they're now undertaking. So there's no decisions have been made. It's more about the review of the registry itself. And I'm quite confident that our officials have done their due diligence and they've looked at overseas advice. They have a whole group of targeted people who they have already conferred with, and that includes New Zealand Police. Now, Chris Cahill represents a union, but does not represent all of the police frontline, whereas New Zealand Police do. And a lot of their feedback has been constructive and fulsome. In fact, they've given me more feedback than any of the other people that have been asked to be a part of this. So I'm quite happy with the way that we've landed here.
What do you say then with claims that you have included 17 firearms interest groups and just 8 groups who may take a differing view? So who have you been consulting with?
So the groups that we've been consulting with are targeted groups, so groups that were mostly established under the previous Labor government to help give them advice. I have not introduced any new groups myself. I'm actually using the same groups that were there. They are a mixture of firearms and non-firearms owning communities, so I think that we strike a very good balance there. I'm surprised that he's not happy with those groups because he seemed to be previously under a different administration.
Yeah, is this kind of come out of the blue, Nicole, or is this been kind of bubbling under?
Well, maybe it's been bubbling for him. It's not been bubbling for us here in government. We have made it quite clear what we're going to do. We've made the 4 phases visible to everybody, said we want everyone to be able to have a say in the process, and that includes Chris Cahill as the union rep that he is. But he wants to be a part of every single process, and I don't think that's necessary when I've got New Zealand Police already a part of that process.
All right. Part 6 of the Arms Act refer to regulations for shooting clubs and ranges. Is that correct?
It is, yes.
Can you explain that there has been a law change already, has there, about regulating gun clubs?
There's been an order in council to take away some of the repetitive and onerous paperwork that clubs have to do. as an immediate relief for some of them. That's based on the fact that a number of clubs have said that their committees are thinking of walking out. It's too onerous. They don't understand why they have to repeat work. So we've taken away the ability for them to have to repeat a lot of that work. That's initial, but we have some more substantive changes proposed that will be coming, and then the Police Association will have the ability to comment on that once we make that public.
I mean, he's made a big call too, Nicole, and I'm sure you would have read it, calling you a gun lobbyist, and even went far as referring back to 2016 when he accuses you of pressuring then Police Minister Paula Bennett to ignore changes proposed to buying back MSSA rifles and establish a gun registry, and says the changes that should have been made could very well have meant a much different outcome for New Zealand on March 15, 2019. And that's a big call.
Oh, yeah, it's a bit sad that he's taken such a personal attack. I mean, at the end of the day, he also said that I was the head of the gun lobby. I wasn't. I was actually a contractor in my own business to New Zealand Police, delivering firearms licensing and safety education on their behalf. And at the end of the day, the then Police Minister, who was also the Deputy Prime Minister, Paula Bennett, she's the one that made the call. I was an advisor that was asked by her to advise her, but I wasn't the only one. And it was not my call. It was the call of the government of the day. So really, he's just making personal attacks because he's got nothing else to hang his coat on. And it's sad, really, because he needs to be representing his people in his union, not taking personal attacks on ministers of the Crown.